Chosen one, listen closely, for what is rising toward you now carries the power to reshape the entire path of your existence forever. And if your eyes found this message, in this moment it is no coincidence at all. The divine has guided your steps to this very place with intention, and the words that are about to unfold before you come as a sacred breath of renewal from this moment. Forward struggle is no longer the mission assigned to your spirit. Your burdens around money are dissolving because the Creator himself is stepping into the center of your life to direct the unfolding of your prosperity and well-being. The increase you've cried out for is already approaching your doors, and those who once mocked the emptiness they assumed was your destiny will soon witness the depth of the treasures God has been preparing for you. This is your moment, your shift, your sacred turning point, and nothing in existence can hinder the blessings already moving toward your life. But before we journey deeper into this divine unfolding, I want you to do three things. Touch the like button, subscribe, so that our community can grow to 20,000 souls, and leave the number 99 in the comments. This vibration opens a powerful current of energy and strengthens the frequency of abundance that surrounds you. If your soul is truly aligned with the chosen, you will remain here with me until the last word, because something deep within you already recognizes that this message belongs to you. Prepare yourself, because your life is about to expand in ways the mind has not yet dared to imagine. Every path carries a moment when heaviness dissolves and ease arrives. And for the ones marked by God, that moment comes when the weight of survival is removed from their hands and placed into His. The one who shaped the galaxies and mapped the story of your existence has pledged to you an eternal river of abundance. This is not a fragile idea or a hopeful wish. It is a spiritual certainty. Your prosperity is not rooted in exhaustion or endless effort, but in the unbroken fidelity of God's word. Picture a stream that never empties, one that renews itself endlessly. No matter how much you draw from it, this is the essence of God's provision for your life. As a chosen vessel, your path is meant to be filled with richness, not because of the force of your labor, but because He has declared that He will sustain you without end. This holy responsibility is a sign of His unwavering devotion to every promise He has spoken over you. It is time to release the striving and lean fully into trust within this everlasting covenant with God, carrying the weight of your supply. You can finally breathe, knowing that every need has already been met. You are no longer tossed around by the uncertainty of circumstances, but anchored in the certainty of divine provision. Your wealth becomes the reflection of His boundless love, and as you accept this truth, you will feel a peace that rises above every logic and settles gently into your soul. This peace pours not only from the abundance coming toward you, but from the knowing that your future rests securely in the hands of the divine. The moment you said yes to your sacred assignment, something in the atmosphere shifted. You stepped away from a life of scarcity and into a life supported by supernatural supply. The days when you pushed yourself to exhaustion, fearing the unknown, wrestling with emptiness, those days are gone from here. Forward, you are living in the overflow of God's assurances. What once felt like a mountain you had to climb now becomes a descent guided effortlessly by grace. When you step into this flow of divine abundance, it stretches far beyond the realm of finances. It becomes an overflow that touches every dimension of who you are, your relationships, your health, your calling. True wealth is not measured in coins, but in the fullness of the life God desires for you. And when you open your heart to this reality, you will feel the calm and joy that come with being deeply favored. It becomes a renewal of your inner world and your outer experience. You were chosen for greatness, not because of your effort or ability, but because your life fits perfectly into God's perfect intention. Struggle is no longer your inheritance. What awaits you now is a divine fullness far beyond anything your imagination has touched. Trust in this unfolding and release the heaviness of everything You once carried. This is your appointed moment, and the time has come for you to receive what has always belonged to you in the eyes of God. Confidence does not arise from depending on yourself, but from knowing that a power greater than anything you've ever known is supporting you. When you stand inside the confidence of divine supply, you walk through life with the calm certainty that every need will be answered. You are no longer unsure of the path ahead. You move with the assurance of God's unending kindness and his devotion to completing every promise spoken over you. Imagine the trust of a child who knows without question that their parents will always provide for them. That child does not worry about food or shelter. They rest in knowing they are cared for. This is the confidence your spirit is being invited to step into as you enter the abundance God has reserved for you. This same sense of safety will fill your heart, bringing lightness to every step. Confidence in divine provision is living without anxiety or fear. It is resting in God's timing and his way, even when the path seems hidden. When you understand that he is the source of everything you release the pressure of trying to orchestrate every detail. You begin to live with the calm assurance that the divine plan is flawless and unfolding in your favor. You will not labor endlessly to survive anymore. Wealth has become God's responsibility. Your role is to align your heart with his will and trust in his appointed timing. The more you allow the burden of control to fall away, the more room you in your life. This is not passive waiting, but active faith, knowing that as you move with obedience, God will open pathways of abundance you never imagined. The one who formed the cosmos, the one who breathed stars into existence. If this God is capable of such wonders, how easily can he supply everything required for your purpose? There is nothing too vast for God to handle, not even the resources you need to fulfill your calling. As you step into this truth, you will begin to see how everything rearranges itself to meet you exactly when you need it. Embracing that your wealth is God's task frees you from the mental strain of trying to figure out how it will all work. Instead of worrying about the how, you focus on becoming who you are called to be. When God becomes the architect of your abundance, you can expect not just enough, but overflow. A life filled with purpose and provision. Remove every lingering doubt about your financial destiny. God does not speak empty promises. His word stands firm and eternal. If he has called you into abundance, then abundance is where you are going. Your dreams are not too large for him. Your visions are not unreachable. What may appear impossible in the physical realm is already finished in the spiritual. There is no room for doubt, because the plan God has crafted for you is already done. There are many who have spent their lives wrestling with the belief that prosperity belongs only to a small circle of privileged people, or that they are somehow undeserving of extraordinary fortune. But you were never meant to carry such limitations within your spirit. You were appointed for greatness and destined to rise beyond ordinary measures. The abundance coming toward you was not designed for selfish indulgence, but to empower the mission your soul came here to fulfill. Whether that purpose is to uplift lives, support divine work, or create something that reshapes the world itself, God is already ensuring that the resources needed for your calling will find their way to you. The instant you release every trace of doubt from your mind, you create space for wonders to enter. The more your thoughts harmonize with the promises of the divine, the more clearly you will witness those promises taking form before your eyes. You were not designed to exist in the confines of lack or fear. The vision God holds for you includes overflowing provision, and that provision will reach you in ways your imagination has not yet dared to explore. Release hesitation and step boldly into the certainty that God is preparing to elevate your financial life beyond anything you've known. There is immeasurable power in the understanding that divine supply is guaranteed. It brings a serenity and a strength that nothing in this world can steal. When you know without question that your needs will always be met. You move with joy and a freedom untouched by anxiety. This awareness transforms the way you navigate your life, giving you the courage to take steps that once felt impossible because you trust that God's hand is never far from you. This is not an empty belief, but a faith rooted in the tapestry of your own history. Look back at every moment when breakthrough arrived just in time, every prayer that became reality, every intervention that lifted you when you least expected it. These moments were not coincidences. They were sacred provisions, offered to remind you that the same God who carried you then will continue to carry you. Now, the more you anchor yourself in this truth, the more it becomes the ground upon which you build your future. When you know that God's supply is certain, you face tomorrow without trembling. You do not fear the unknown because the one who shaped your life has already arranged the path ahead and prepared the way for your prosperity. With this assurance, you can withstand any challenge, knowing that divine provision will guide you safely through. As you rise into the abundance meant for you, there will always be voices that confuse doubt with wisdom or mock the blessings unfolding around you. But hear me clearly, their noise does not matter. What God declares over your life cannot be undone by human opinions. Your elevation is evidence of divine loyalty, and nothing can diminish what He has chosen to place in your hands. When God ordains your blessing, no one can overturn it. Discouragement may try to whisper when others belittle your aspirations or laugh at your progress, but hold this truth close: they do not hold your destiny. God does, and if He has spoken prosperity into your story, no judgment can rewrite His decree. Your increase is a sign of His presence and a reflection of His limitless ability to provide. When others speak against you, rise above their shadows. Keep your gaze on what God has promised, and remember that the blessings unfolding in your life are not merely for you. They are a testimony of His goodness. As you continue upward, your abundance will speak louder than any critic ever could, silencing every doubt along your path. God's design for your life is not fleeting comfort, but a depth of richness intended to endure far beyond your lifetime. This divine prosperity is not something you must chase desperately. It is something that flows to you as you align your heart with the movement of God. The effort required from you is not the exhausting pursuit the world glorifies, but the quiet strength of trust and obedience. When you walk in this alignment, the blessings follow with ease. The world insists that success arises only from relentless labor and unending struggle. And while diligence has its value, the plan of God for your life moves differently. It invites you to rest in His provision and trust that He will multiply what needs to grow. When you live in rhythm with His purpose, your life becomes a vessel for continuous blessing, and you find yourself receiving everything He has promised without draining your soul in the process. This divine flow brings ultimate freedom. You no longer live gripped by fear of scarcity or by the anxiety of where the next breakthrough will come from. Your entire existence becomes a reflection of God's vision for your eternal abundance, a wealth that reaches further than anything the material world could offer. This is His highest intention for you, and the moment to accept it fully has arrived. Wealth was never meant to serve only pleasure. It was meant to serve purpose. As you enter the abundance God has reserved for you, remember that every measure of prosperity comes with a sacred responsibility. This responsibility is not a weight, but an honor. You now hold the ability to influence lives, reshape futures, and plant seeds that will bless generations. Your wealth becomes a vessel through which God expands His work and reveals His kindness. Divine prosperity carries the power to rebuild communities, restore families, and spread love in ways that nothing else can. This is the essence of holy abundance. It is not centered on possessions, but on transformation, not about what you acquire, but about the good you can release into the world. As you accept this calling, your wealth gains deeper significance, and you experience a fulfillment that nothing else can provide. Your divine abundance is meant to circulate. The more generously you pour out, the more generously you will receive. This is the eternal law of increase. What you offer returns to you multiplied. As you use your prosperity to bless others and advance the work of God, you will witness an even greater flow entering your life. You were chosen to steward this wealth for a higher calling, and as you step into that purpose, you will feel the profound joy of knowing that your life is shaping eternity. When divine richness becomes visible in your life, it stands as tangible proof of God's unwavering devotion. His promises are not fragile dreams, but solid, unbreakable truths. As you enter the fullness of what He has prepared, you are not merely receiving financial increase, but awakening to a deeper awareness of His steady love and loyalty. Every blessing that arrives affirms His unchanging nature and His determination to watch you succeed. Reflect for a moment on every season when God showed up for you. Perhaps it was in moments when you saw no solution and yet a path appeared, or in the quiet daily mercies that reminded you that you were never alone. Divine abundance is not found only in grand victories, but also in the consistent, gentle provision that proves God's presence again and again. When you recognize that the wealth unfolding in your life is not something you constructed by your own strength, but a gift placed in your hands by God, your soul fills with gratitude. Your view shifts from striving to receiving, from effort to grace. You understand that all you possess flows from His fidelity to His promises, and because He is faithful, this divine river will continue to pour into your life unending as you embrace the life of abundance God designed for you. There may be those who question your rise or sneer at the blessings unfolding around you, but remember this: they have no power over what God has touched. No criticism, no skepticism, no ridicule can diminish the prosperity He has declared over you. When His favor rests upon your journey, nothing formed against you can interfere. The beauty of divine abundance is that it is not about outperforming anyone, but about fulfilling what heaven intended for you. Your prosperity continues because it is written into your destiny. Your rise will unfold in such a way that the truth of your journey will shine louder than the voices that once ridiculed you. And when they witness the unfolding of what God has orchestrated in your life, they will finally understand that none of it was produced by personal strength, but by the sacred grace resting over you. And in the end, your elevation will become a quiet sermon to their spirits, a reminder of the divine power that reshapes destinies. Remember that people who speak with bitterness or disbelief often reveal more about their own fears than about your path. Their words hold no authority over what God has spoken. So root yourself in His vow and let no cloud of negativity disturb your certainty. As you step fully into what God has prepared, you will notice that the critics fade into silence, and what remains is the unmistakable imprint of God's blessing woven through your life. To live inside the abundance of God is to feel existence as it was always meant to be, not shallow or temporary, but rich, deep, peaceful, and overflowing. You are no longer merely getting by, you are flourishing. Every corner of your life is brushed by God's generous hand, from your finances to your connections, from your well-being to the quiet vision within your heart. God is touching it all. Stepping into this fullness is not a sudden leap, but a steady journey of trust, a path where your faith grows and your awareness sharpens. And as you continue to walk, you will see signs of His care everywhere, miracles that arrive, unforced doors that swing open at the perfect moment, and opportunities that appear too extraordinary to be real, yet they will be real because God is faithful and He has crafted a life of wholeness for you. This fullness is not about receiving every desire, it is about resting in the truth that God supplies every needed thing, and so much more. When you inhabit His abundant, scarcity loses its voice. You greet each day knowing that the One who created you walks beside you, providing in ways that stretch far beyond what your mind can grasp. This is the life God intended for you, a life of serenity, overflow, and unshakable joy. Entering into prosperity is not a reckless leap into uncertainty, but a steady step into the assurance that God moves with you in every moment. Divine certainty means understanding that what you require for success is already being delivered. You no longer question whether the path is correct or whether the future will align. You move with confidence, knowing that God is ahead of you, preparing the way. This certainty becomes the courage that allows you to act boldly because you trust that your steps are synchronized with His design for your life. Whether you pursue a new business, embrace an investment, or walk into a new chapter, you move without fear. You know that God not only accompanies you, but is shaping the journey for your benefit. His will for your advancement is already unfolding, and it is time to embrace it with confidence. Wealth becomes a natural companion when you dwell in divine favor. It is not something you chase frantically, but something that follows effortlessly as you remain steadfast in Him. As you step forward, trusting in His supply, you will watch how each detail falls into place with precision, ease, and God-crafted timing. Your increase is more than personal gain. It is a powerful expression of God's unwavering commitment to care for His chosen ones. Every blessing, every resource, every opportunity is proof that God is honoring His promise to you. It becomes living evidence of His reliability and a message to the world that His word never returns empty. As you receive your divine increase, your life becomes a message of hope. People will witness the transformation in you and recognize the reality of God's presence. You will become a reminder that He fulfills His promises. Your abundance will inspire many to believe for themselves and trust that they too can experience His provision. Your life becomes a guiding light, a witness to what unfolds when a person walks in divine care. And this testimony is not only for today, but for the generations that follow you. The wealth you carry will shape futures and touch families, leaving behind a legacy of favor, faith, and the undeniable truth that God provides and never fails. You were chosen for greatness, and greatness is never achieved through human effort alone. It is placed upon you by God Himself. Every struggle, every setback, every burden from your past now lies behind you. It is time to release the echoes of yesterday, the memories and fears that try to hold you in place. Your past carries no authority over your identity. God's purpose defines you. The path to greatness may hold difficulties, but it is also drenched in divine assistance. As you let go of the weight you once carried, you create room for God's blessings to flow freely. Your past may contain battles, but your future is shaped entirely by victory. Now is the moment to embrace the greatness prepared for you. Enter your divine calling. Step boldly into the identity God has placed upon you. No boundary from your past can confine you. You are free to enter the future He crafted for you, a future filled with prosperity, meaning, and a life that radiates His glory. This is your moment to rise, and nothing has the power to hinder you. Divine abundance is not a passing experience. It is a sacred promise with no ending. It is a river that never slows, a blessing unhindered by human limitations. The instant you welcome this promise into your heart, you unlock a realm where increase has no ceiling. God's supply in your life cannot be contained, whether the need is financial, emotional, or spiritual. He has vowed to sustain you beyond measure. Imagine the ocean stretching endlessly across the horizon, filled with depth and movement. That is how God's provision functions in your life, a boundless source that cannot be exhausted. As you settle deeper into this promise, you begin to realize that nothing can restrict your advancement. No barrier can hold back what God has ordained. The blessings you receive now are only a glimpse of the abundance waiting to pour into your life. Every moment becomes an opening for more divine richness to arrive. Living in God's wealth means stepping beyond the limits of the world. While the world is shaped by scarcity, fear, and competition, God's kingdom is governed by overflow. This is the inheritance granted to you as a child of God, an inheritance designed not only for you, but for those around you. Your prosperity is meant to spill outward, touching your community, your loved ones in the world in profound ways. Divine wealth does not revolve around possessions, but around living a life where every need is met in every dimension of your being. God's abundance reaches your emotions, your spirit, your dreams, your health, and your purpose, and because His wealth has no limit, your own potential knows no boundary. Embrace this truth and allow the overflow to begin. When you open your heart to the radiance of God's supply, your life begins to expand beyond anything you once believed possible. What once felt unreachable begins to take form in your hands, and the dreams that used to feel distant transform into the moment your heart moves in harmony with the direction God has prepared for you. The path before you begins to widen, and the more you lean into that trust, the more you witness doors unfolding with a grace that feels beyond anything you once imagined possible. Breakthroughs arrive in forms you could not foresee, unexpected increases, remarkable shifts in your work, and personal transformations that stretch far beyond your expectations. For the nature of God is abundance, and His glory is revealed through the overflowing places of your life. The radiance of His provision becomes clearest when you release the urge to control and allow His wisdom to guide you instead. For when your plans fall into His hands, you discover that His intentions for you rise far above anything your mind ever dreamed. It becomes a life of continual wonder, endless grace, and moments so filled with blessing that your faith deepens with every step. You now enter a fresh chapter where all that you have been holding space for begins to emerge with a natural, almost supernatural ease. This is not a chapter of scarcity or of dry places, but a realm of richness and divine supply. As your spirit aligns with His design for your journey, you start noticing streams of blessing appearing from directions you did not expect. God's movement surrounds you quietly and powerfully, shaping events, shifting circumstances, and pouring goodness into your days in ways that only His hand can accomplish. The supernatural flow isn't limited to finances alone. It surrounds your connections, touches your health, shapes your purpose, and breathes into every corner of your life. It all starts with a subtle inner shift. The moment you recognize that abundance is your birthright and you begin to walk with the awareness of that truth. From there, a higher outpouring opens, reaching every place in your life that has been waiting for renewal. Imagine the gentle current of a river, carrying life wherever it goes, awakening growth everywhere it moves. This is how blessings will stream through your days, steady, nourishing, expansive. As you allow yourself to receive, you will see that these gifts are not simply meant for you alone, but designed to overflow into the lives around you. You become a channel for divine grace, and in stepping into this movement, your entire existence becomes a living expression of God's kindness. Rest in this season knowing that what is coming to you is not something you must chase or struggle to create. It rises naturally, shaped by God's favor, activated by your trust, and strengthened by your obedience. His blessings lift you into places you never imagined reaching. This is your appointed season of divine abundance, and as you embrace it, your entire life begins to transform in ways that feel profound, sacred, and undeniable. Your journey into divine wealth unfolds upon paths you have not yet seen, doors God has prepared long before you reach them. These openings are hidden from ordinary sight, but as you continue in alignment with His purpose, He reveals them in perfect timing. Though the road to prosperity may appear unclear in the beginning, each moment of trust becomes a step toward the doors that will redefine your future. There are opportunities waiting for you that your mind could not have structured or created, connections that appear unexpectedly, ventures that seem to fall into place, invitations that arrive without warning. None of these moments are random. Each is woven into the divine plan guiding your growth. These opportunities will not merely bless you, but will equip you to extend blessings far beyond your own life. Consider Joseph, whose seasons of difficulty ultimately led him to unimaginable influence. Just as God shaped Joseph's rise from what seemed like loss and uncertainty, the pathways forming in your life may also come after moments of testing. But through every trial, God has been positioning you. When you remain faithful and sink into His timing, the doors meant for you swing wide, leading into wealth, purpose, and deep fulfillment. Trust the unseen, knowing that every challenge holds a doorway behind it, waiting for the moment your spirit is ready to step through. As your faith remains steady, these openings reveal themselves, and you enter a future radiant with limitless possibility. God's work continues quietly behind the scenes, crafting a breakthrough far greater than anything you once imagined. Real wealth has never been about gathering luxuries or stacking riches for display. True wealth is purpose in motion, resources shaped into impact, blessings used as instruments of God's intention. Your abundance carries meaning beyond your own life. It becomes a tool to uplift, serve, and illuminate the world around you. As divine provision expands within you, your spirit learns how to direct this wealth toward what matters, supporting missions that reflect God's heart, assisting those in need, nurturing the dreams of others, and contributing to the unfolding of a greater, sacred story. Every financial increase, every resource that lands in your hands, becomes a doorway through which God expresses compassion and generosity. You are blessed not merely for personal comfort, but empowered to extend blessing outward. The more freely you give from a place of divine alignment, the more God pours into your life, honoring your willingness to partner with His purposes. And as you use your wealth to shift the world around you, your own journey begins to carry deeper meaning. Wealth becomes fulfillment, peace, and joy because it flows from total harmony with God's intention for you. You belong to something greater, and your blessings are threads in a tapestry larger than your own story. This is a wealth that transforms, expanding far beyond your lifetime. As you invest in others, God multiplies your blessings, forming a cycle of abundance that continues shaping lives long after you are gone. God's timing carries a perfection that your human understanding cannot fully comprehend. When you walk in rhythm with His timing, you awaken the seasons of wealth that have been reserved with your name upon them. There are moments when everything appears still, as though nothing is shifting, and then suddenly the atmosphere changes and provision pours out in ways that feel miraculous. These openings are the fruit of divine timing, moments when your heart, your purpose, your environment, and God's intention align flawlessly. He moves through seasons of quiet preparation, seasons of planting, seasons of waiting, and seasons where the blessings you have long carried in your spirit begin to manifest before your eyes.